Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, my name's Amma and I'm an electric skateboarder and content creator based right here in the UK. My goal for this channel is to be a resource for you e-skaters through reviews, tutorials and ride videos. So if any of that is of interest to you, make sure you go ahead and smash that subscribe button and join me on this journey. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my review of the Basecamp F11 mini electric skateboard, and this is a board that I think is really tuned to new e-skaters in the industry and also children. So without any further ado, let's get this board unboxed. Also, thank you so much to Nobleman Tech for being our channel sponsors. If you're after the best e-skate safety gear, then head on their website and enjoy 5% off anything over there with the code AMMA at the checkout. Got an illustration of the board going on here. Basecamp, born for fun. Not a bad motto, to be fair. What's this thing? Ooh, a banner. Should I just, how does that look? Just give them permanent advertising for free? Maybe not. And of course the board itself. So before we take a look at the board, we do actually have a bag as well that comes free with the board, which is quite interesting. But let's take the board out anyway. Nothing else in the box, apart from a charger. Very well packaged, by the way. The board fits in this box very snugly, like a glove. Never ever get tired of unboxing fresh electric skateboards, even if they're really small and basic like this one. Now in terms of what else you get in the box, you do get a nose guard, and you can purchase these off sites like eBay, and I know that because I've been through a couple of these before and they're actually surprisingly effective. It's just essentially very thick rubber, and you place it on the front side of your deck, which I'll just do for demonstration purposes here. And it does look pretty ugly, to be frank, but it does serve its purpose pretty well of protecting the front of the deck. So if you did end up crashing the board, losing control, and this board smashed into a brick wall, then the rubber here will hopefully absorb most of that impact and allow you to protect the integrity of the deck, and it will save your deck from shattering or undergoing any structural damage, making it unsafe for you to ride your electric skateboard. That's that. What else you get, which is quite interesting actually, is an electric skateboard carry bag, or a skateboard carry bag actually. I don't know if it's specifically for electric skateboards. It's not like an Ultra bag or one of the X-Ray bags or something. It's just a bag to carry your electric skateboard, and it's actually branded Basecamp as well, which is quite nice to see. And yeah, so the bottom lip of the board, if you like, will sit just here. You do have straps to secure the board in place. I've never actually seen this provided for free with an electric skateboard before, which is quite nice. You've got a pouch here to carry your charger, UK charger. Thank you for including a UK charger. Won't mention any names, but some brands do like to send me US chargers, even though I'm very clearly in the UK, if you can't tell by my accent. But that's another thing. This is a really basic charger, to be honest. It's not branded or anything. It is a 2000 milliamp charger, 1.5 amps. So it would be a relatively slow charge ordinarily. However, as I'll talk about in this review, the battery on this thing isn't particularly big. You can expect around 9 miles range with this board. This board isn't particularly built as a all-day cruiser. It's just a beginner electric skateboard designed for children or people that are just finding their feet in e-skate and want a simple basic board to get to grips with e-skate perhaps, or just something to nip around to town with that's really small, light, and that gives you a very fun ride. Somebody that's not a huge adrenaline junkie that needs, you know, the highest 30 mile, 40 mile per hour top speed electric skateboards, or a crazy amount of range. And equally so, we just have a very basic remote control, not branded in any way. It does have this nice insert for your finger, so that you do feel quite secure in holding it. In fact, the scroll wheel feels a little bit like a FlipSky VX1 remote controller, which if you know anything about eSkate and DIY, particularly DIY eSkates, then those are pretty much the best controllers there are. I say it feels like that because you've got a sort of raised edge in the middle here, and just the play and the sort of resistance required to accelerate or brake feels about the same as you would feel on a VX1. So it'd be interesting to see once I get on this electric skateboard how this feels like when I'm riding, especially with some gloves on, like my Nobleman Tech reflective gloves. So we will of course test that. You do have a reverse feature, a power button, accelerate, brake, and it charges with just micro USB. So the old charging cable. What you also get here is a few Allen keys and a T-tool. So everything that you need to maintain this electric skateboard is included just here in the box. Nothing that you'll need to go out of your way to source. Then of course we've got the charger, as we just mentioned, a 1.5 amp charger, and yeah, and the bag as well. So really interesting. I will be curious to test this out, and in fact I really want to see if this works with other electric skateboards, like for instance this X-Wave Flex Pro. It probably won't work because I can probably secure it from the bottom side, definitely not from the top side there. Might work actually with another mini board like the Wowgo Mini 2. So just to give you guys a very brief rundown of this board, we're looking at a single hub motor on the rear right side of the board, and it's a 300 watt hub motor, which is not the most powerful hub motor in the world, to be quite honest with you, and it does limit this board's power and top speed to 10 miles per hour. So once again, this is not going to be a board which you would purchase to experience top of the line performance with eSkate. That's simply not the market of person that Basecamp are targeting here. Who they're really targeting is beginner electric skateboarders and children. So hopefully for a child, 10 miles per hour will be more than sufficient, especially if they're wearing safety gear. Of course, always wear your helmet. If they're wearing pads as well, a crash at 10 miles per hour won't really be the end of the world. So a single 300 watt hub motor on this side of the board. And the advantage of course of using a hub motor on a board like this is that you'll never have to worry about replacing belts. Hub motors normally go on for hundreds of miles without any issues, and normally the only maintenance really that you need to provide for a hub motor board is to replace the wheel sleeve around the motor casing once it sort of breaks down and wears down, and those are normally quite inexpensive to replace and pretty quick and easy to replace. So no fuss with having to worry about getting stones and pebbles into your belts and tearing your belts, etc. Very minimal electric skateboard, very easy to ride day to day, and hopefully quite a dependable board, but I can't really comment on that until I've put at least 100 miles on this thing. Now the hub motor is connected to the battery with one single cable. This battery is relatively small, and I like though that it encloses the ESC and the battery all in this one little compartment. And there's definitely a bit of waterproofing that Basecamp have implemented into this design by pressing this battery down against a foam layer between the underside of the deck itself and the battery slash ESC slash BMS compartment. I still though wouldn't ever encourage you to ride in the rain, but this battery is relatively small. You can only expect around 9 miles of range with a board like this, but then again 9 miles should be more than sufficient to get you to and from the shops or get you around town, or really whatever you need to do with this board, and get you back home to charge and replenish the battery once again. In terms of the wheels on the board, they're around 90 millimeters, which is quite standard for mini boards. In fact, it might be a little bit on the bigger side. They do feel a little bit squishy, which is good. That should mean that they'll be able to absorb road vibrations better than higher durometer wheels, but I don't really know the durometer of these. I'm just going by feel here. But yeah, 90 millimeters should be great for most city streets, and it's definitely something that you can get used to. I've gotten used to the 85mm Kaguamas on my boosted board. I rode those for hundreds of miles, and if I can get used to those, then you can probably get used to these. Although those wheels, especially the orange ones, were just impeccable. Now I did talk about this remote briefly earlier. So this remote actually has 4 modes. It's got a pro mode, an expert mode, an eco mode, and a beginner mode. To me and to a lot of people watching this video, all of those modes are beginner modes, because even with the pro mode, you're only getting 10 miles an hour top speed. What a board like this does is that it reduces the entry bar into eSkate, which I think is a great thing. The more eSkaters that we have in our community, the better as far as I'm concerned. And if that means having entry-level boards like this so that people can purchase it and then sort of get used to the sensation of electric skateboarding, which this board will definitely provide, and then move on to something more advanced, then sure thing, that's an amazing thing as far as I'm concerned. A couple more things on this board, and the deck is actually a deck composed of Canadian maple, 8-ply of Canadian maple, and it's a relatively thin deck, I must say. The grip tape design on it is actually really nice. It's got this like two-tone grayish silver design and black grip tape with an arrow sort of going right to the end. It almost reminds me of Casey Neistat and what he used to do to his boosted boards, and so nice to see that Casey's back making videos about electric skateboards, by the way. Really nice design, and you've got the Basecamp sort of logo and branding at the bottom there. And this deck is around 23.5 centimeters wide, and it actually reminds me a little bit of the deck that I used to have on my Boosted Mini XR, in the sense of its form factor more than anything. And it is relatively flat though. You do have a sort of contour towards the back of the deck, which, I mean, I can't kick or flick up a electric skateboard just because of the weight more than anything. But if you did want to do that, then I guess it could be possible. Apart from that, the deck is mostly flat. You do have a somewhat of a concave going around the front edges here, so you should be able to place your feet in there quite nicely. But of course, it's a short board, so you're going to have less stability on a board like this in comparison to a long board or an AT board. By the way, I'm just going to take this off because although it does serve a very good purpose, personally, I just find it a little bit ugly. But yeah, there's not much more I can say about this board, guys, whilst we're sat in my studio here. I'm gonna wait a couple of days for the weather to improve, and I'll take this board out and see what it's capable of and see what it feels like to ride, because it can look good as it does here, but if it doesn't feel great under the feet to ride, then really I can't go ahead and recommend it to you guys. So, see you in the riding portion in 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, so we're out now on this board by Basecamp, and I have to say it's a very different experience riding a single motor hub-driven board. And this is a very different type of electric skateboard in the sense that it's made to be simple, it's made to be very basic. Not only do you lose out on the torque and acceleration and braking performance that you would ordinarily get on a belt-driven board, that would be better on a belt-driven board, but also it's a single hub motor board, so the effects of that loss in acceleration and braking is exacerbated, if you like. Now, the advantage of a board like this is, of course, you can just more grab it and incorporate it into your daily commute. So if you're commuting to work, for example, and you've got a short walk to the train station and then, or to the bus station, you can just grab your board just like this, walk onto your train or bus, and it's a really small package. It's not heavy in any way, really convenient, really light. So you can just grab this and it's a last mile vehicle in the end. That's how boosted boards started, like a last mile vehicle. That's exactly how you can use this and then ride from the train station or the bus station to work. Once you get off the bus or get off the train, hop back onto your skateboard and off you go, you're off to the races. Now this board does have 90mm wheels, and they do a pretty good job of hacking any sort of terrain that you'll encounter riding on roads. By the way, I weigh in at about 80 kilos at the moment with all my gear on. However, if I was a kid or if I weighed, let's say 70 kilos or 60 kilos, little inclines like this, I would definitely experience more power and I'd be able to capitalize on the range that this board actually offers. And talking of the range, this board only offers around 9 miles of range and 10 miles of top speed. I'm pretty sure that I've gone more than 10 miles an hour already, just because some portions of this ride have been downhill. 10 miles an hour is really not very fast at all. and it's definitely not difficult to achieve that speed. Let's see how this board handles over these. Not bad at all. But yeah, a really nice, fun, snappy board, guys, and that was a little bit of a brake test there. Really, I'm not used to having, I'm not going to call them weak brakes, because I know this board wasn't necessarily designed to have strong brakes. However, I'm used to much sharper brakes on my electric skateboards, especially when, I mean, now I'm moving on to gear drive with my X-Ray Atlas Pro, but I'm always used to brakes on belt drive, which are far stronger. And even when I'm braking on my hub driven boards, it's normally dual motor braking, so twice as powerful. I need to be careful. They see I couldn't take that left turn there because I wouldn't have been able to brake in time. Pretty good turning radius, to be fair. And yeah, all in, it's not a bad electric skateboard, guys. I would probably struggle to recommend a board like this to a seasoned electric skateboarder unless you already have a great electric skateboard and you're just looking for something to nip around to the shops with, throw into your supermarket trolley, or incorporate into your commute, throw into your gym locker, throw into your work locker. Then this could be a pretty good bet. If your commute is, let's say, less than 7 to 10 miles, this should be fine for you. I mean, you're not going to want to go much faster than 10 miles an hour anyway, probably in the morning. However, I think who this board is really made for is children and also beginner electric skateboarders who perhaps have a first board or are just totally new to eSkate and aren't used to the sensation of moving on an electric skateboard and controlling it entirely with a remote like this. But yeah, guys, for the moment, I'm just gonna continue enjoying this board, and I absolutely love how you can carve and just nip around on it and use the kicktail as well. I'm not gonna go too crazy with the kicktail because I'm not used to using kicktails, but I'm just gonna enjoy this board until the end of its range, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. So make sure you've liked, comment, and subscribed to the channel if you're new here, and see you guys soon. Peace.